he was saying that it was just different back then because of the personalities and the relationships that they all had with one another. From a surface level viewer, it seems a lot more stale, minus a handful of the guys who have good personalities and like all that. But I don't know, you don't really see the camaraderie like you did back then, you know? I love seeing all those videos of those guys just like walking to the event together and like in the airport together and doing all this stuff. I don't really know if you have that anymore.
Welcome everyone to episode 224 of the COD Casuals. We're your host, Justin.
And I'm Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing
Yeah.
good. Yep. I'm doing
New
really good.
setup, new room for the people watching on YouTube
We have to be sure to go over
or
there if you haven't
Spotify.
already. Yeah. Um, yeah, dude. Life is great, bro.
Yeah.
I finally got my own spot. It's all to myself. My room is like 3 times bigger than what I had back in my other place, so it's much nicer.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, dude, it's been crazy. You know, it's been a tough week just trying to get everything moved and
Mhm.
get everything situated. I honestly didn't have a lot of stuff to move because I just had like like my room stuff. It was like the same
Mhm.
kind of deal when you moved out of your place. You know, it was like
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad, but then it's the
Everything else. Yeah.
the
Getting everything else
buying,
in.
bro. It's like, yeah. I mean, it was. I have just about everything. Like I ordered a couch, bro. No one who's in the couch market, bro. Like those people, whoever is selling couches, those people need to be scalped. Like it is so expensive to get a couch, like
Yeah.
a nice one. It's
Mhm.
crazy. Um, and got that. Got like all my basic furniture, and then on the other hand, bro, TVs. They're just giving those away.
Yeah.
TVs are like hella cheap. You know, like I was surprised by that, but now it's like once you move, I mean, too, it's like you overlook all the little small things.
Mhm.
You know, you're like, "Oh, dude, I don't have like hand soap." Like,
Yeah,
damn. I
yeah, yeah.
got you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You're making food and you're like, I don't have a spatula.
Right, right. Like that was me with like just some seasonings. I'm like, "Oh, bro, I only have salt." Like I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
anything else,
yeah.
But no, it's been great. I've been loving it. Like I'm literally I before we started, I'm like building this kitchen island that I bought
Mhm.
off Wayfair, and it's like they say that you need 2 people for it, but fuck that.
Nah,
I'll
nah.
yeah. Nah, I'll be fine. But like something on there, they say that like if you have a drill, they're like it's highly recommended that you have a drill to do
Mhm.
this, bro. If you didn't have a drill, you would
Yeah.
be absolutely cooked.
It just takes for yeah.
Oh
You need a
yeah,
yeah, you need like a drill or like an electric screwdriver or something. Because it's
yeah,
it when you're building everything, it just takes so long with a
yeah,
regular screwdriver.
yeah. I mean, I've been working on it for maybe like an hour and a half or so, like if that, I don't
Mhm.
really know. But probably once we're done recording, I'm just gonna sit on the floor and keep building
Yeah,
it while my
keep
dinner's
drilling.
being made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if you're like that, but dude, I can't leave projects just like half done. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna, if I wake up tomorrow morning and I see all this stuff still there, like I'm gonna
Mhm.
be pissed. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, when it comes to furniture or like building stuff, yeah, I can't leave it undone because like if you go to bed and then you wake up the next day, you're like, where'd I leave off again? You know?
Right, right.
So
Yeah, like, I was just on with you, you're like, "Oh, yeah, 7:30," and it was, like, 7:28, and I'm like, "Okay, I have to do this last number here." I'm like, "I gotta finish step 8," because if
mhm.
I'm halfway through it, I'm gonna be like, "Okay, where am I at?"
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, things have been good. How about with you? I know you've been busy as hell too. We've had a hella busy day.
Yeah,
But
today was just a busy day. I
yeah.
like I called you in the car saying, "Hey," well, okay, originally you were like, "Hey, can we record a little bit earlier? Because you have to go get a haircut." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure, whatever." And then I thought I was fine, and then work got in the way, and I texted you. I'm like, "Yo, yeah, I'm not making it for the time that you suggested."
Yeah.
And then I got out like right when I was done, immediately left, got in the car, called you. I was like, "Hey, um, I need to eat because I had my whole day planned out already. Like I was supposed to leave by the normal time,
Mhm.
chill, record with you, go eat. get ready, get in bed because I have to
Yeah.
get up like super early tomorrow,
Yeah.
and that all went to shit. so, so now we're recording the time that I was supposed to be like eating for the most part. Um, so yeah, and then yeah, after this, legit, I'm gonna go shower and probably chill for like a half an hour, go to bed.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this will not be a yapathon episode of us going
Yeah.
into
I mean,
insane talks. We've
well,
got our things we'll talk
yeah,
about.
we'll
There's
see.
some big topics that we still need to cover. Um, honestly, man, I think we should start with Major Four.
Yeah, we
Um,
should jump into that first
you know,
because one of our brackets was right technically. You know?
yeah, right. Yeah,
Hash
we really didn't talk a ton during this. Um, I
Mhm,
was I was watching it as much as I can, but again, it was like over the weekend was the move. So I was
mhm,
kind of in and out. Like I was getting alerts from our friend, and he was like, "Dude, this happened. Dude, this happened." He's like,
mhm.
"Optic won," and I'm like, "Oh hell yeah!" And then I heard the sad news about our boys, which we'll get into for sure
Dude,
because it's
yeah. I
definitely looking grim.
so I watched all of Sunday, and I got a handful of matches live on Friday and Saturday, but I had to go back and rewatch, like, a couple of them. But, yeah, it was, uh it was definitely an interesting major because there were, like, a lot of upsets that, we did not predict. So
Oh yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, I think the biggest upsets for everybody were Surge and Ultra really being the ones that
Yeah.
just they didn't go anywhere near as far as people had
Mhm.
anticipated them to go. Um,
Search
like
got first rounded.
yeah, right. I mean, right off the rip, when we had Thieves and Surge facing, and I knew that was going to be a good match. I was looking forward to it, and it wasn't a good match. It was like Thieves just went and 3-0'd them. They pretty much obliterated them. They 100-point clubbed them in the hard point, 6-2 in the search, and then, dude, I mean, it's no debate. Thieves are far and away the best control team.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty much just like they're winning most of their series like based off that. Like you have to win that first hard point against them because
Mhm.
if you don't, like you're screwed. I
Yeah.
don't. It's going to take a mountain for people to try to beat them in control. Um, so yeah, they lost that, and then they went down to losers, and they played. They played Falcons, bro, and
And
they
that
fucking lost to them.
they choked, man. See, that's what a team that has nothing to lose can do.
Very
Like, the
true.
go play your heart out and, eliminate a team and ruin it for them. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what they did because they went all the way to map 5.
yeah, and it was weird because it was a real like back and forth at times where like Surge, they almost 100-point clubbed Falcons in the hard point. Search was mixy. And then the control Falcons 3-0'd them, and then Vancouver responded. And then the last search was pretty close. So, like you said,
Mhm,
there's no reason that Vancouver should be losing that series against Falcons. Falcons have looked terrible pretty much, I mean, obviously from the get-go, but even with this new roster, like
mhm.
they had their glimmers of hope in the beginning. And I think it was in the last episode when we were doing our bracket, we were talking about our cities and Priesta being like, yeah, they've just been severely underperforming. It's probably for the end for them, and then they go and do that.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much it was a devastating day and just like a couple matches for Surge. Um, I just think it's crazy that bro, those guys show up, they play 2 matches of Call of Duty, and they're done. Like
That's
that's
how the
it.
cookie crumbles, dude, for those
Yeah,
that's what sucks about the format, and if you're not on your A game, you're out. Like,
yeah,
they didn't even make it to Saturday. Imagine
yeah.
just
Which is
flying back after.
right,
Like, you're
right.
just leaving the middle of the event.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
"Alright,
what
see
was
ya."
amazing about it, thinking that they barely played, they played just a couple of matches, and it's the same
Mhm.
thing for, like, Carolina. I mean, we don't really need to even talk about them, but yeah, bro, they play 1 match on Friday against Ultra, they lose game 5. It's like, "Alright, see ya. That's it."
Yep,
You
yep.
know? Um, it was pretty abysmal for those teams, so they've got a lot of work to do going into champs, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, I mean, talking about the losers end, um, before we keep getting into some of the winners and some good runs there, dude, we really got to talk about the breach here.
Dude, they so this was one of the matches that I did watch live, and I was on my phone like, "What the fuck is happening?" And I was away, and I'm like, "This shouldn't be that close with Rocker. It should not have gone to game 5, um, or map 5." And they had such a crazy hard point. One of them, they lost by a point, and all they had to do was just sit on it and just win one gunfight. Did not happen, clearly.
Yeah. Dude, that hard
That
point
ended
has to
it.
be one of the craziest ones ever, right? Like, and I feel too that this year it's strange because a lot of these hard points, like I say a lot of them, I take that back. I think it's been like maybe 2 or 3 other ones. I remember Optic had a, hard point that went down to time on red
Mhm.
card, and then there was the other one, I think it was the FaZe, I don't know if it was FaZe and Thieves or FaZe and Ultra. Um,
Phase Ultra.
yeah, where same
Is
thing,
what I'm
it was
saying.
on the same map, it went down to time. I even think in the same hill.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, dude, they just had it and we're so close. I mean, it was a devastating loss because then right after that, we go into search
Yeah.
and dude, when
I
you
so
lose a game that close, you're mentally cooked.
dude, and I thought, you know, they were gonna put up more of a fight on the search. I mean, they should have won the first search. They went round 11 and they choked. Uh, they should have won the control too. Then they choked. So, that's just what happens if you show up and you're not shooting on all cylinders. So Rocker definitely took advantage. I mean, I guess you could call it an upset because I really think Breach should have won like 3-1, to be honest, if not three
Absolutely.
zero. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're not making a roster change going to the champs because I think rosters are completely locked. So it's like this is what we got, going in champs. And we are the eighth seed again, dude. After the whole tournament, we're not even six. I think we were six at one point. Now we're eighth overall.
Yeah, and
So
do you
which
know who
sucks.
we play?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we play Thieves, right? Or is
We
it
do.
FaZe? Oh yeah,
No, we play
Thieves. They
Thieves.
just fucking won. And okay, odds are, right? Usually the team that wins the major right before champs is, I mean, obvious it's a hot-handed team going into champs, but they usually win.
Right.
So you're telling me like, okay, cool. We just fucked ourselves. Now we're playing the the team that just went back to back majors.
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, it's not looking good for us.
Yeah,
You know, I totally agree. We should have won that match against Rocker. I don't know where that would put us, standing wise and like seed where for the for champs, but
we.
yeah,
I don't think we'll be playing Thieves.
no, I don't think so either. I mean,
I
because
would
look,
rather play any other team.
yeah, you have to be realistic. Everybody knows, all the Boston fans, that's going to be a loss. I mean,
Yeah.
it would take a miracle for them to pull that off. Um, and honestly, we really just have nobody to blame but ourselves for that loss, and
Hmm.
just for like the way it's been. I remember we talked about it a couple episodes ago, and this is like the gamble that you take, the coin flip. It sometimes can pay off where you stick with the team and then they end up having a resurgence. And then you have the other side of it, which I think is what we've gotten right now, where there's just been a really steady decline.
Hmm.
And everyone's expecting them to pretty much bow out of champs. They're going to get double first rounded, or if not, they're going to lose to Thieves, then face whoever, win that, and then lose right afterwards. Um, which coming from where we were earlier in the season, it's really devastating. I mean, we had
Hmm.
a lot of good chances and opportunities to be making it to Sunday relatively consistently, and we just haven't been able to do that. So, I think early prediction. I think it's pretty obvious. There's no way this team should stick together going into next season.
Yeah, or on it, like even going into EWC. To be honest, like even
Yeah,
if I mean, as a player, not gonna lie, that would truly suck to be replaced right before EWC because you're guaranteed, cash no matter what. Um, and especially too if you all played together the entire year. But if they have an opportunity to get someone, and usually those rosters, right, like will make it into the following year for the new COD. So
Yeah.
we don't know, but yeah, I think we can say that they're probably just going to end up in losers uh, after they lose to Thieves. So I mean, at least it's double a limb, and we don't start in losers right away. So like at least we're not playing Thieves right away, and then we're just knocked out like one and done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you said, this is a risk that you take. Not changing the team, and we played against Rocker, who was honestly pretty cold for the most part going into this major, and they just clutched up when they needed to in map 5. And yeah, there are a lot of close matches. So I would say yeah, Rocker definitely upsetted the Breach at this, and then we wanted the Rocker to go further because obviously wrote the storyline, right? Potentially Optic being knocked out, Kenny being the one that you know ends up knocking them out. But
Yep.
I'll take a step back actually because Rocker didn't look good, and Cloud9 looked like they had the hot hand, and they got cooked like
Yeah, they
first round.
did.
They got
Right.
eliminated immediately, and that was over. And it was by LHG2, which is hilarious because again, another team has nothing to fight for, knocks out a team that is literally fighting to get into champs.
Yeah, and there has to be some correlation with that, right?
Yeah.
With LAG going into that, and they're just like, well, screw it. Like, what are we gonna do here? Like, we might as well. This is gonna be our last event of the year, up minus EWC. More than likely, those guys are not going to be sticking for EWC.
Hmm.
Um, I would assume that probably the only guy that's going to be on there is Kismet. But who knows? Um, so they're just going into this being like, all right, we're just gonna play our heart out because this is pretty much it for us. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was insane to see them 3-0 Cloud9. I couldn't believe that.
Hmm.
I think that was for sure one of the biggest upsets because throughout the year, dude, they've just been LAG. They've just been the team that pretty much is an auto loss. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you're just you'll beat those guys no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
They've
all of a
been
sudden they wake up and they know how to play COD and they beat them.
yeah, it's insane. Like what can happen when you have nothing to lose and you're just let's go have fun,
Right, right.
and that's what happened.
Yeah,
So Cloud9 got knocked out on day one, and that's when everybody was thinking, oh, Rocker they have a real chance now, like to
right.
actually make it. It's gonna be hard, but they have a chance because Optic, they beat Ultra and knocked Ultra down into losers. And Optic stayed in the winners bracket. But yeah, and Rocker ended up playing Falcons. Another close game. Rocker ended up winning, which again, fantastic match because you get that Kenny versus Pred matchup. Honestly, I don't think it would have mattered which team won. That I mean,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think it was cool that Rocker won because it gave him like even more of a chance.
Right.
Um, so actually, honestly, yeah, it's probably better that Rocker won because it was just it tells the
Well, yeah,
storyline better. Because
if
Falcons wouldn't have
Falcons
done
win,
anything.
who cares, right? Like
Yeah.
that's going to be the end for them.
Mhm.
Rocker at least has something to play for.
Yeah.
Um, but I think going into this, right, it was really between Rocker and Optic because it was still
At
funky
this
to
point,
see,
yeah.
yeah, how it was going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
work out with Optic. Because nobody really knew how they were going to end up doing.
Mhm.
Um, but dude, shifting over to them, man, they like had a resurgence. They looked great.
Mhm.
Um, they had a really good run. They made it to their. I mean, I don't know if they which was the last Sunday they made it to. It was probably what major one. Like, if I had to go back and think, because
I don't
I
even think they
want
made it to Sunday major one.
they may not have, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't even remember, but if throughout all 4 majors, I believe this was probably the 2nd time that they've made it,
Mhm.
um, they've made it this far, and once they made it that far and they were looking that good, I mean, Rocker kinda knew that it was gonna be really, really tough for them to try to do anything because, yeah, when they got to, a round 3 elimination, yeah, Optic smoked them, um,
Mhm.
and then that was the end of their hopes and dreams, and it was so great to see Optic kinda back in relative form.
Mhm.
They're still in no way going to be competing with Thieves and FaZe. Um, But I honestly think that Optic looked this good because of the upsets with Vancouver and
Mhm,
Ultra. I think if those guys made it farther, um, I don't think Optic would have actually made it to Sunday. But
mhm,
at the end of the day, Optic, they capitalized on it. They played well when they had to, and that's the way it goes. Vancouver and Ultra, they should have just played better.
mhm.
So you can't really take anything away from them, but uh, it's it's nice to see them making it to Sunday and looking not like complete dog shit.
No, yeah, and it just shows, like, Mark was a right move, that they
Oh
improved.
my god.
It would have been funny uh, if Ultra and Optic ended up lining up together, playing each other, and then if, like, for losers too, it's like, "Alright, who's better? Like, was keeping Beans the right move, or should have we kept Mark?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, they got eliminated the same round that Optic, like, won, but, we'll truly never know, because Ultra played Thieves, and, Thieves just they won the whole thing.
Yeah, so that matchup, it did happen early on with the
Early the
Optic
first one,
Ultra
right?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they smoked them, but
Mhm.
um it didn't have the same weight to it as like whoever loses this
Yeah,
is going to
yeah.
get eliminated,
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
that's
You
like
have
that's
another
a way
chance.
different. Yeah, exactly. Like if you lose that one, like yeah, you're definitely pissed cuz now you got to make the losers run. Um
Mhm,
but yeah, I look, for sure, Ultra made the wrong move by getting rid of Merker, letting him go.
mhm.
Um, I think everybody can see that now. It was pretty obvious that that guy, uh, generational talent. I'm still out on that. I don't know
Mhm.
yet. We got to wait till next year.
We need another
Um,
game, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But the guy is shaping up to be a really consistent and insane player. He's for sure brought that team. Uh, you know, brought them to a Sunday, which they never got to before. I mean, he's definitely elevated their game. So yeah, they should be kissing the ground that that guy walks on. But they all played like pretty solid, I think, over the
Yeah, yeah.
weekend. Like there weren't any matches where those guys were like really playing terrible.
Mhm.
So it was good
Yeah,
to see that.
yeah, and, but we did get the matchup with Optic Rocker, like, there were a bunch of good storylines that happened,
Yeah.
um, but obviously, like, Rocker got smoked by Optic in losers,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I mean, and then obviously, like the bracket towards like elimination round 4 and everything, it more or less, and even round 3, I would say, it started to
Mhm,
shape up the way that we had it in our brackets, which was, Optic inevitably has to play Thieves, they lose, um, and then of course it just comes down to FaZe and Thieves as it always does. But I wanted to shift up back to the beginning of it with Miami
mhm,
because this team just they keep on impressing me and I love this team. I think it's a hard team to hate on and they looked so good. They beat Rocker 3-0, smoked
mhm.
them, and then bro, beating Thieves.
The upset.
Oh my god. That
Yeah.
was like it was so good to see that happen.
Mhm,
The hype out of them was unbelievable, and it was pretty close too. I mean, it went all the way to the map 5. I know that hard point that Miami ended up winning at the end
mhm,
on the Skyline hard point, yeah, 250 to 244.
mhm.
Um, dude, I'm telling you, when you lose a match like that,
Yeah.
you're checked. You're like,
It's
"Oh,
hard.
dude."
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard to
like,
bounce back.
you're up 2-1, you're like, "Alright, let's go close out this HP," and it's that
Mhm,
close, and the other team, you see them, they're, like, so amped up,
mhm.
screaming at each other. They're like, "Let's go close this out," and you could just see Thieves are like, "Fuck."
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And, then I'm sure you saw the clip. That was when Super got up and, like, flipped off Scrap and said something to him, and Scrap was like, "Don't fucking, like, say that to me." I was like, "This is awesome. This is
Oh, I
great."
loved it. I loved it, dude. It was like who were the guys that shoved each other back in the day? Who was that?
Those Aches and, Nade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Aches and
yeah,
Nate. Yeah,
yeah,
Aches shoved Nate.
yeah,
Dude, it was that all over again. I
yeah.
think Super ended up, like, apologizing to him afterwards
Yeah, yeah,
because I
yeah, yeah.
think I'm pretty sure it was a misunderstanding at the
Yeah.
time, but I loved
Hey,
seeing
when you're in the
Scrap
heat
like
of the
that.
moment,
Dude, when
that yeah.
Scrap started pointing the finger at
Don't
him,
fucking say that to
yeah,
me.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude." I'm
Right.
like, if someone's pointing a finger at you, bro, I'm
Oh,
like, that's
oh,
like, that's heavy.
yeah.
I'd be like, "Dude,
Yeah.
don't point your fucking finger at me."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm
you're
pretty and he grabbed his jersey too afterward.
Yeah.
Like he grabbed, was like, "Don't say that to me" or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, no. After that happened, not gonna lie, I'm like, if Miami play Thieves again, they are cooked.
Oh,
That
yeah.
doesn't like they are cooked. That does not happen. Like they're not gonna lose like that and then lose again to the same
Right.
team.
Right, right.
Um, and
And
obviously
well,
they
sure
played each other.
sure as shit they did.
It
Yeah.
wasn't close. Let me tell you that they
No.
3-0'd those guys so bad, and dude, Scrap went over and he was like, he's like, "Where are you? It's Sunday. Where are you?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
"This is
yeah.
fantastic."
It yeah, I hope that we get more stuff like that, with
Mhm,
these players because that's the stuff that just makes it way more entertaining, and it creates these storylines with these teams because, for some of these matchups that, you know, maybe you don't care about as much, you
mhm,
hope that there's some bad blood or at least there's just some reason for them to be fighting, you know?
mhm,
Um, 9 times out of 10 now I would say people would agree that Thieves are going to beat Heretics, but now every time they match up, you're always going to be thinking about what happened at this major
mhm.
and how like, yeah, Scrap was fucking pissed at him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they don't like I don't know what their friendship is like if they even have one, but dude, I'm just gonna create in my head that they hate each other, and
They
I'm
hate each
gonna
other, yeah.
like, yeah, and I'm gonna love watching it.
Yeah.
Um,
Honestly, it's probably like nah, like where they're not friends or anything. It's just like they coexist. They're like, yeah,
right.
whatever. I think truly the
Well, it's
only
not like
that
Draza and Fade. Yeah, Draza and Scrap.
yeah, yeah. I think they truly just hate each other. I mean, actually, no, they definitely do hate each other. But um, yeah, I think everyone else for the most part that we've seen is just like some little shit talk. It's whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
but dude, we need more personalities though,
oh
bro. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. We need way more
yeah,
energy. We need this stuff all the time.
yeah.
Like, I
Well,
want to
dude,
hear
it
people
yeah.
going up and talking
It,
shit.
it's hard to talk shit when you do that and you just don't back it up.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
just, I mean, he won MVP of the
Right.
whole major, and he was like, "Don't do that again, because I'm gonna get you back."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so that matchup was, the first time it was exciting, and then, like you said, afterwards, it was
it was good
just
for the plot.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It was good for the plot, and I mean, obviously good for them too. I mean, shit, they
Yeah.
made it all the way to Sunday, and they got third place.
Mhm.
They can't really sneeze at that.
Yeah.
With Ultra placing the way they did at this major, um, you know, I think it really shows because I don't believe that Miami has had any majors in the past where they just completely blew it, and they bowed
Mhm.
out very early. I could be wrong. I have to go double check. But Miami has just shown that they're a consistent team and that they
Mhm.
can always be at the top. They're still, of course, not at the level of Thieves and FaZe,
Mhm.
but to be able to constantly be fourth and third is really impressive.
Mhm.
Um, I think people saw that with Surge, like, that was a real problem for them, the fact that they can lose to Falcons like that,
Yeah.
and just get, double first rounded out of there when they have been in grand finals for these majors, like, what,
Yeah.
2
2
times now, I
times.
think?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
placed, like, 3rd and then back-to-back 2nd, and then this, they just finished top 12.
yeah. So, I would say with them, I'm gonna assume that they just dusted it off and been like, "Yeah, it was a bad weekend, like, we played bad,
Yeah.
there's really nothing you could do about it, we just gotta move on to to champs."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, it's better to lose this one than champs, so,
Yeah, for sure, for
um
sure. But yeah, we had that matchup like with the Heretics, and then they went on and played FaZe, and they got smoked, and then they went and played Thieves, like you said, Miami did, and they got absolutely smoked. And then
yeah.
yeah, we had our grand finals again, which was FaZe and Thieves, which
Mm.
we're not gonna do it this episode for our bracket prediction for champs, but I think it's gonna look very similar. I think we are once again gonna have
Probably. 2
FaZe and
brackets?
Thieves. Well, dude, I really hope that it's FaZe and Thieves.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, me too.
you know,
That
I
that's what it should be because they've been consistently there at the top, like, just trading back and forth. And 2, it would be cool to be like, "Alright, FaZe has got 2, Thieves has 2, like, we'll see what happens."
well, that's the storyline I've kind of created for myself now is, most people would say that Thieves is the best team, and I would agree.
Mhm.
Um, but when you look at it statistically, just based off the championships, yeah, they're 2-2. So now it's just gonna come down to the last bit.
Mhm.
And I think for FaZe, Like, their obvious weak point is their hard points. That's been their struggle as of late.
Mhm,
Um, and I don't really know what it's come down to, but their first hard point they lost, and then the second one, they ended up winning just barely.
mhm,
Um, but again, I think the big thing for Thieves, like their win condition is that control. It is just so airtight. It's almost like an auto win for those guys.
mhm,
Um, and if you're gonna beat them, you just have to be that good in that mode. You can't let them go up 2-0 on you, you know.
mhm.
And I think that's how it was looking at first. I think they were up. I think FaZe was up. What was it? They
2.
were up no, the Thieves was up. Was it 2-0? And
It
then they
was
ended up
2.
winning a match? Yeah. Which, like, that's when it gets scary. When you're in, like,
Mhm.
grand finals like that and you're already up 2-0 or 3-0, you know, you've gotta kick into high gear. You're hoping that these teams are not being like, "Oh, dude, it's all good, it's all good."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? You're like, "Dude, we gotta get the energy going here. We gotta win this."
Yeah, yeah, you can't just brush it, the one map off. You're like,
Right,
"Alright,
right.
we're good." I mean, technically, yeah, you are. Like, you are good,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
hey, keep the foot on the gas pedal.
Right, right.
Um, and, yeah, I mean, I'm expecting it to be FaZe Thieves again in the grand finals for champs, and I hope it goes the distance and FaZe, like, they fix their hard point. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can't count out FaZe, and if there's any game mode that they can fix, it's hard point. I mean, if you look on the map, a lot of it's just they're not rotating like early enough because they do have the skill set to just break the hill like immediately if they
Mhm.
needed to. And also, too, all those guys are just good at like roaming and slaying.
Right, right.
Like someone's got to sit on the hill, and
Yeah.
collect. But it's hard when you're all those players. But I mean, I'd rather them try to fix this, the hard point, than the search. So regardless, I think when we get to champs, it will be that FaZe Thieves, and winner will, be crowned the technically the best team in Black Ops 6.
And I'm sure you saw the news too from Nate Shot that that team's gonna stick together, the Thieves
Hmm.
team, which I think at the beginning may have been a little bit of a gray area because he spent so much money on them, but
Yeah.
once they all started clicking,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, the results speak for itself, right? They've already got 2 out of the 4 championships here, uh,
Yeah.
and if they win champs, uh, yeah, I mean, they're solidified, obviously the best team.
Hmm.
Um, I think that this team definitely has the potential to be like a dynasty team. They
Hmm.
for sure, like, you would never really know, but this team, it's very hard to look at any of those guys who can like you can replace to get better. Honestly,
Hmm.
everybody on there is so strong, and they work so well off of one another. And if they're able to continue that going into next year's COD and after that, they're for sure in that question of like being a dynasty team. Especially now, like if they win champs,
Hmm.
2 majors and the ring, um,
Yeah. Then
that's
EWC
huge.
too.
Yeah,
If
right. Like
they
it,
win 4 in a row, which again, very possible. It, yeah. I mean, that definitely can be a good argument of them being a dynasty. I just need to see more than from them,
of
obviously, right?
course,
Like,
of course.
I think you can count a team as a dynasty if you're winning in multiple um titles.
Titles, yeah.
And I mean, look at that. Those players are great. It's a great sign by Nade, but also on top of that, Black Ops 7 is, from what it sounds like, very similar to this game. So, if you're winning championships in this game and the next game is supposed to be very similar and supposedly has wall running and all that stuff, then more than likely your team's going to be pretty good.
Right, right.
So, I'd be very surprised if we get Black Ops 7 and that team. I'm sure maybe in the beginning they don't click right away or whatever, like they did now, like learning curve, and then they'll just figure it out.
Yeah, and it's also, upsetting to me that they're gonna stick together on one side because now there's no chance that any of those guys are gonna go anywhere else, and I was kind of hoping that there would be some
No shit.
insane roster moves,
Yeah.
where I'd be like, "Oh, man, one of these guys from Thieves is gonna leave, like, is he gonna go to Optic? Is he gonna go to FaZe?"
Hmm.
Um, I always like that stuff, but, of course, it's the right move that that team sticks together,
Yeah.
especially at this stage in the game. I'd honestly imagine that FaZe is gonna do the same thing,
Yeah. I mean,
because,
they've
like,
won. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, exactly. They look really, really good, and that just again shows how good that Thieves team is because FaZe, you know, for sure is in that question of a dynasty, like those three guys, Simpa, Beezy, and
Mhm,
Cell. Um, and yeah, to think now that they're in this title again and they all still look really good,
mhm,
but Thieves still look that much better.
mhm,
Yeah, it really says a lot to how good those guys are. So I'm hoping that we get FaZe and Thieves again, and FaZe is like red hot, and we get a
mhm.
repeat of Major One. Like, I want to see a game 9. I want to
Yeah.
see just like, the absolute insanity. If I see them go up like 4-0, I'm going to be pissed. Like
If
I
I
don't
see
want it.
that, reverse. I need a
Yeah,
reverse.
yeah, dude. Like I need to see the Rocker repeat. The Rocker and
Yeah, yeah.
who did they do that to? Ultra, right?
Ultra, yeah.
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 Never to be repeated again.
Yeah. Oh, well, and that was a game that was game 9. Now we only play till 7.
Yeah, till 7.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, like, it is that'd be awesome to see. So,
Yeah.
but if, uh if Surge or Ultra just, like, sneak in there, which, I mean, I guess it's highly possible that they do, I they're
I don't
I'm ch
want it.
I don't want it because 'cause I'm chalking it up to, they just FaZe or Thieves at that point just didn't play well that day,
Right.
And at the end of the day, I guess that's what it is kinda is, but FaZe and Thieves are consistently in the finals together. So,
Yeah, especially at this stage in the game. Yeah, if it ended up being a Surge and Thieves grand final for champs, uh, yeah, I
sorry,
honestly I would be
Thieves no.
disappointed. I'd be like, okay, here
Mhm,
we go.
mhm.
Again, unless Thieves all wake up with COVID that day, or
Yeah.
they just get hit with like the worst news of their life, and all of a sudden, Surge just takes full advantage of that, which would be cheese anyway.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I would only assume it's going to be a repeat of what we've had, which again it should match up for a good grand finals, but we'll
Yeah.
see. Who knows? Maybe Thieves get fucking knocked out round one, bro.
I mean, maybe Boston
That's not
just
gonna
do the
happen.
impossible and knock them to well, they're not gonna get knocked out, but Boston do the impossible and knock them to losers.
They underestimate them.
I mean, technically, we underestimated them too at that time, and
Yeah.
Breach did beat Thieves and knock
So
them.
it
I
is
mean,
in our blood. We can do it. We
it is,
have done
yeah,
it before.
exactly. We've done it before. But yeah, I mean, the 4 teams that didn't make it to champs, Cloud9, Rocker, LAG, and Falcons, they're clearly they got to rebuild. I'd imagine Cloud9 and Rocker are probably just going to keep the same teams going into EWC because they're still a new team. Um,
Right.
Falcons, I'd imagine they're just going to ride the wave 2 into EWC. Gorillas, I have no idea because they're like, they've stuck as a team together. So should they just play with this team at EWC? Because again, who cares? Or do they try to find like other players and kind of screw over, some of these players that have been on the team all year and now they don't get to compete at one of the biggest events?
I think you totally drop everybody on that team other than Kismet before EWC.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's
I
if
mean,
Kiz like wants to stay.
yeah, I mean, I would assume he wants to stay because,
Yeah.
where else is he I mean, well, actually, potential where he could go.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think you drop everybody on that team. I think you're
Mhm.
insane if you go with that team into EWC because this team has done nothing but disappoint you.
Mhm.
And now at an event where, you could make some serious cash, and these guys, like, are they all of a sudden gonna start playing well together and figuring it out? No, it's
No.
not gonna
Yeah.
happen. They like, look at all the time they've had to be able to do this. I think
Mhm.
you totally take this time and this opportunity to go and try other players and take a chance on some challengers people or, some other pros that maybe were in the league prior, like whether they are, top amateurs,
Mhm.
or top people in the what do they call it? Uh, in the challengers realm, like
Mhm.
that were former pros, or you just go with some like random no name people that are apparently good on paper, and you sign them and take a chance because everyone's expecting them to like lose immediately with the current team that they have. If you have a new roster, you could get that honeymoon phase. And you could also see, even if they lose quickly, it's like, all right, well, this guy on the team, he is really good. Like he did perform quite well. So at least we've got one person that we can
Mhm.
probably salvage for the next year, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I mean, that I think we wrapped it up on Major 4. Congrats to Thieves. I mean, they went back to back,
Hmm.
very impressive. We'll see how, Champs goes. Champs, we got, like, a couple weeks, I think. Like,
Hmm.
we don't really have that long. So,
Yeah.
um, I expect to face Thieves rematch again in the grand finals. Uh, and yeah, I think we covered every single team, honestly, besides Ravens. Ravens almost did the impossible and knock out Ultra, but again,
Yeah. Right. But it just
fell
wasn't meant to
short
be.
again. Fell short
Yeah.
again. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for Major 4. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much that was like the main talking point. I think the last thing I wanted to cover a little bit, because it was just related to what we were saying regarding the teams changing, and Kismet. Um, I mean, like I think he stays on that team,
Mhm.
but there's going to be the vacancy with Cloud9 because Attach
Mhm.
is he's out, he's retiring.
Yeah.
I don't think he's playing at EWC. I think
No.
he's
He
yeah, I think
he's done for
he's
good.
calling it entirely. Um, which is kind of crazy, you know.
Mhm.
I thought he would have at least stayed until EWC, maybe try to make a run,
Mhm.
collect one final bag as a COD player and then dip out.
Mhm. Honestly,
um,
kinda commendable. I mean, I feel like Attach has always been that guy, like, he is, like, the staple child role model, Call of Duty player. Like, no one hates him.
yeah.
Um, Everyone respects this guy, and I wonder if, like, again, I would not be surprised if he was like, "You know what? Uh, we're probably not gonna make it that far into EWC at the state that we are right now. Let's give, like, someone else a chance and, like, collect whatever bag that they can get for just attending,
Right.
um, because he doesn't need it."
Yeah,
And
clearly,
that
yeah.
that would help out, some up and coming player too. Especially, like what if they just make a random run? I mean, it happened last year with Thieves. Remember,
Right.
yeah, with Thieves, and it was just this random team.
Yeah, because they were so bad. I say so bad last year,
No, no,
but
no, yeah.
they
It
were
was
bad.
Ghosty, Nasty, Joe, and I forget
Kremp.
their fourth. Oh yeah, Kremp. Yeah, like no one expected them to what they place second. Yeah, second. They
Yeah, I
played
think
FaZe.
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Which was
that's
like it
crazy.
was mental, you know.
And now
Again,
all those guys on a top team, well,
yeah.
minus Kremp, but like he was the player on Cloud9, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. So they all got spots.
Yeah, that Cloud9 team was a real letdown. I mean, everyone was excited, I think, in the offseason looking at them because
Hmm.
everybody on that team, just ability wise, is really good. Um, and then I believe it was announced that they were going to be coached by Lamar, which people were excited about too because it was his first time
Hmm.
being a coach and not a player. But yeah, they just didn't live up to the expectations all throughout the year. They had some good moments, but honestly, just a lot of disappointing moments. It was definitely a season of what could have been for that team. Um,
Hmm.
and I think for Attach too, like it's kind of his like the end of a chapter for him with, he's being coached by one of his closest friends in the
Hmm.
league and he's playing with all these guys who he's, never played with before. Um and yeah, I think it was a fitting end to his career. Um
Hmm.
it's it's really sad to see him go because I saw in his video it wasn't his like retirement video, it was his one that he put out after saying why he retired.
Yeah, yeah.
And just hearing him talk about all the guys and like you see all these photos and videos of him with all these players
Hmm.
and he's like, "Yeah, they're all gone, you know?" So
Hmm.
like it used to mean something when I would beat these guys and lose to them. Like when I would play the dynasty, I'd be like all hyped up and when I would
Hmm.
lose to them, I'd be pissed or certain rivalries. He's like, "But now when I lose to some young guy, I'm like, okay, like
Yeah,
whatever. Like who
yeah.
cares? I don't even know this guy." Um and it's true,
Hmm.
again, we were texting about it earlier. Like it is a passing of the guard because
Hmm.
the only guy that's left is Slasher from
Yeah.
that era. Once he's gone, then it's like a whole like the new era of old people is like what Dashy and TJ,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that era of
Even like
players.
Priesta,
Yeah, right.
like
Like
yeah,
again, those are the guys who are now like the old players in there.
yeah, Arcades,
Which
yeah, and they're like 26 or 27,
right,
something like
right.
that. Yeah.
And they're
So I
calling
mean,
them old.
yeah, and yeah, I would recommend watching the retirement video. It's good. It was
Yeah,
sad
it's really
seeing
cool.
like he walked through his career and stuff like the teams that he joined, and then when he got to I joined Vegas Legion, and he was like, it's sad because a lot of the players that end up on that team at the time were like, it's kind of over. Like everyone knows once you get to that spot, your career's probably at like a low right now.
Mhm.
Um, and he said that like word for word. And but he said that MW3 was probably one of his favorite like games in the CDL era. And he said that game he had the most driving
Yeah.
in that game. He wanted to like he almost like started crying. He was like, I wanted to get Vegas uh to qualify for champs for the first time ever. Because yeah, his whole career is always like defying the odds in like some grand moment. Um and then he just came up short with Vegas. He could not get them to champs for the first time in the org's history. And then uh he was saying when he joined Cloud9, it's like so much potential, right? And not the way that he wanted to go out at all. Obviously, it seems like a lot of these older players that are going out, like they're just going out at the bottom, and that sucks. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's so hard when you're used to winning and you can win still. Like he easily could win still. I'm sure of it. Like with the right people around him, and but he knew it was just time to call it. You know,
Right.
and it's hard to call it when you're at the top too, because if you're at the top, like why would you ever call it?
Right, of course. Yeah, and for him too, like you could see it and hear it in the way he was talking. He's like, I could still play. Like I'm
Yeah.
still a good and of course he's still a good player.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think for him and a lot of those guys, you get to the point where you start to wonder, like, okay, am I getting picked up on teams because I'm a good player and people want me on here, like to be a
Mhm.
leader, or are they picking me up because of who I am? You
Yeah.
know, like people know that name. Like when you see attach, people are like, oh shit, okay, this is gonna be a solid team.
Mhm.
Like if they're gonna build around him. Um, and I think for him, he's like, look, if I'm not having my heart into this,
Mhm.
uh, then I'm just taking up a spot here when there's somebody else who like could
Who's hungrier?
definitely deserve that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And like is up and coming and needs a spot. Um, like why would it's selfish for me to take this just because like he absolutely could. I mean, shit, he could be playing for years and years
Mhm.
and years until like really whenever he wants to retire because he's still that good. Um, so it was for sure sad to see. I watched. I think I have like 5 minutes left of that the actual retirement video. I
Mhm.
don't know why I just like totally blacked out on watching the last couple of minutes of it, but it was so cool to see him go through all his career moments. And I
Mhm.
forgot some of them. Like we were just talking about with that rocker reverse sweep. I
Mhm.
forgot he was on that team. I was like, holy! I remember Standy being on there.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, he's the player that like sticks out to me on there.
That's because he was
Um,
picked up that year,
yeah, yeah. Um,
and he was the
but
guy that
and
changed
think and thinking
game.
of all of those moments that he's been in, like, and he's been just a part of these huge clutch like moments that people will always when you're gonna see montages on YouTube of, pro COD moments, there's gonna always be clips of him,
Mhm.
like that, or if it's gonna be the round 11 against Optic on London docks running through
Mhm.
the own artillery, like, I mean, he had a pretty legendary career.
Yeah.
So I definitely tip my hat to him. Like he's a beast, and I wish him nothing but the best. I think he's gonna crush it in whatever he does because he's one of those guys who did content too, like way before
Mhm.
other people. Like way back in the
Mhm.
day, he was doing vlogs and doing all that shit. Um, and I think he was doing a little bit of it too when he was kind of in a low
Mhm.
in the CDL. but now
Mm.
he's got more time than ever, so I think he's gonna pick it up. I hope he does.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll pick it up because he knew the opportunity that he had as being a pro player, and like he definitely took full advantage of it, doing content and stuff. So I think honestly that's probably the easiest transition for him to go full-time content creator and probably just enjoy video games now. He can like do what
Right.
he wants. And yeah, like he doesn't need to scrim every single day over and over again. That's what like every pro player says. Like they don't miss the scrims at all.
Yeah.
They miss competing, but the scrims definitely did not miss. And yeah, I know there's a lot of rumors with him, like, oh, what is he gonna do next? Like, FaZe attached sounds really, really good because I mean he was on FaZe and everybody's like, oh, he's probably gonna go to the flank or imagine like, nope, he's gonna switch it up, go to optic, enjoy scump on like his watch party. Like I personally, I think he's just gonna go and do his own thing. Like he has a big enough community where if he really wanted to, he can pop in and out of the flank or Scump's watch party if he really wanted to. But I think he can, carve his own path because we were talking about it earlier. Like the flank's good, but there's a lot of heads in there. And I feel like it'll get to the point where it's really repetitive because it happens a little bit now where like Zuma will talk about something, then Aches, and then Parasite, and then gets to Octane, and he's like, pretty much what you guys all said. Because they're all former pros and they all think the same. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I mean, regardless of what Attach does, like I think he's gonna kill it. He's got the audience, he's got the personality, and wish nothing the best for that guy because he was like the guy I watched growing up when he was 18. I remember those vlogs, like 18, this Asian kid playing Call of Duty and winning Advanced Warfare champs, and then like he was the guy in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, seeing those clips of him at his high school
Yeah,
after he won COD champs, bro, I couldn't even imagine the dopamine from that.
dude, yeah,
Like,
the
it's
man.
insane. Yeah, well, and then again, seeing that clip, I mean, shout out was a Shoston who went and edited
Yeah,
all that. A masterpiece, right?
yeah,
Like that clip of him when he's in the high school and he turns around and like then he's like does that and he's
yeah,
by himself and he's way older. I'm like, oh my God.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it definitely like tug on your heartstrings. You're like, fuck, dude. You
yeah.
know, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, all those videos and stuff when it
Mhm,
happened, because I wasn't watching him back then, but I do remember those coming out, you know?
mhm.
Um, and then you look back and you're like, damn, dude, he was like, yeah, he was a
That's
teenager,
a decade
Exactly.
ago.
Yeah. He was like 16, 17, and now he's like, I think he said he's 28,
Yeah,
you know, which is just mental. I'm like, bro, he is our age,
yeah.
he's like right around us. Um, yeah, it's mental, but I think phase attach would be pretty cool though.
FaZe. I mean, he was FaZe attached for a while. It, I think he can go to any org,
Right, he
honestly.
could, sure.
Like, and he's gonna represent them well if he chooses to go to like an org.
Yeah.
But I for sure think that he should just be a content creator, whether he signs with an org to be a content creator or just being a solo content creator.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, your whole talk on like the flank, I really don't want to see him on the flank,
Hmm.
for all the reasons you just laid out. Attach is so good at being a personality by himself. I think it would be great to see him under the phase banner, and
Hmm.
again, coming in on the flank from time to time would be awesome. But he definitely could carve his own path and do his own thing on content, but still be
In
signed with
COD too.
phase.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Because
You know,
we need more COD content creators like in the
absolutely.
scene because
Yeah,
shout out Zuma and Scump, those guys ever since the watch parties like happened, specifically Zuma, like I'll say it like that. He stayed within competitive COD like ever since he retired.
yeah.
And those guys are just holding COD esports on their damn backs and
Right.
just doing everything that they can. Um, and as much as like we like it, we can't take every single old retired COD player and throw them on like Scump's watch party or Zuma's like watch party. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it looks like an all-star, um, football team, like
Right.
green versus
Right, right,
red.
right,
But if we
right.
can have multiple COD content creators that are, you know, that play professionally, that's great. So I'm sure Attach will find some way to carve out. Because I personally, I don't see him as wanting to be a coach. Um,
No.
I think again, he has an audience and he's good on camera. Like he is a good content creator. So
Bro, I feel like he'd be a manager. He'd, like, manage
oh
a
yeah,
player's career, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
Like,
could
if they
see that.
had that, I could see him doing that. Yeah, coach,
Yeah,
hell no, I couldn't see him
yeah,
doing that. You know? But yeah, whichever way he ends up going with it, man, I mean, the guy's gonna kill it, of course, you know, there
hmm
it's no question about it. He's not gone. He's gonna be just doing something different.
hmm
Um, and yeah, it'll be good for us because then when I get home, I can go and watch, you know, I have Scump,
yeah,
I've got Zuma, and then I'll have Attach. It'll be
yeah,
another person I could fold into the mix of, okay, let me go watch and get their take on stuff.
yeah.
So
Even
yeah,
more content.
exactly.
And
But
now it's up to Slasher, man. It's up to Thanos,
I
dude.
know,
Don't
I know.
one more year, man. Don't call it
Well,
because
I was gonna end with that, man. What do you think? Like, do you think next year's his last? What you thinking?
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he calls it after this year. But
Yeah.
I really don't I'm a big Slasher fan. Uh I was very upset that he had a short stint on Boston. Because I like his mentality and his attitude towards like the game.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, seeing where he is right now, and the dude can clearly play because he was their best player at one point. And it
Mhm.
probably pissed him off because, like you said earlier, with Attach, him being picked up on a team like Slasher, you're picked up for your leadership, and people want to play with you. You don't want to be the best player on the team. Like you don't want an org to be building around you. You want the org to be building around like your young superstar, and you're
Right.
there for the leadership. So yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't call it because that just means the CDL just dude, the CDL is just a reaper, dude. They took
Right.
away so many of the guys we watched play. And
Everybody we love.
yeah, like it first started off like MW2, MW3, like got a lot of the pros. Now Black Ops 6, like having a attach go and potentially Slasher, it would suck. I really hope he's got like one more in him. Because
Yeah.
I know all these guys have been going out on the bottom. I just want one person to go out on the semi top. Maybe you don't need
Right.
to win everything, but like don't go out like that.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I think for Attach, that was his thing. It's like he was gonna go to EWC, he's gonna lose. It's like
Hmm
what's really the point, It's like I kinda know where it would end up going there.
hmm
Like, I'm not gonna keep playing after the fact that I'm not going to champs,
hmm
you know? Um, yeah, I wish that Slasher would end up on a good team next year. If he sticks with Ravens, who knows? Um, but yeah, I agree. Of course, you wanna have these guys go out on a relative high, like, he makes it to champs. Like, of course, he's going to champs
Yeah.
this year. So say if he calls it at the end of this year, at least he got to make it to champs,
Yeah.
and hopefully places a little bit better than just getting dead last.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, it'd be cool if he played one more season and he had that crazy run like he did with LAG, and they just
Yeah,
randomly win a
right?
tournament. I'll be like, yo, dude, retire right there. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter if it's the
yeah,
middle of
I
the
know,
season.
right?
Like
Yeah,
you
like,
got you
dude,
got your
the
chip.
chances of you winning after this are so slim, bro.
Yeah.
Like, call it right now.
Yeah. On a high,
Yeah,
dude.
but yeah, man, honestly, I think that's kind of like it for the main things we wanted to talk about. Again, a lot of good stuff from the major four. And then obviously the real sad news with Attach leaving was it was devastating for sure. And I hope it just stays to him. I hope we don't have to talk about Slasher retiring,
Yeah.
when we do like our episode post EWC or post champs. He's like, I'm done. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
retiring from Call of Duty. I'm like, dude, we're fucked.
Dude, I because he's again like the last like old guard
That's it,
of
man.
like our age group
Yeah.
watching these guys play. Then it's basically all new players
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like Arcades and Priest are like old heads now, which is crazy to me because they're younger than us.
Right. And probably people would say Envoy too. Envoy's in that realm of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
slightly older,
It's like yeah,
which is fucked
Yeah, I
because I'm
know.
like,
It's
bro,
it's
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, dude, wait till we're like 35,
Yeah.
36, and then like Ghosty and these guys are the old heads,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like Scrap. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
bro, what? Like, will they be at the top still?
Mhm.
Like, or are they just gonna be getting mopped by like the next guy that
Yeah.
comes up? There's gonna be
Well,
some other guy that's like, like better than Scrap and talks more shit than Scrap.
yeah.
You know, I'm like, is he gonna take that? I'm like, bro, he's gonna be like 28.
Yeah,
you
yeah. And Simp and Abeezy, like, I mean, they came in I mean, Simp came in Black Ops 4, Abeezy came in made his big mark in, World War II. So, I mean, they're ki like, they're kinda old too,
Yeah,
but the
getting up
thing
there
is,
too. Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it because they didn't play all the way back in, like, jetpacks, their names weren't, like,
right.
there. Um, but yeah, I mean, once Slasher's gone, like, I guess it's their league, dude. I mean, it's kind of been their league, to be honest. They've just been, like, running it since the
Yeah,
CDL started, but it is their league at this point.
right.
And one thing I am worried about, though, I will say all these old guys, old heads retiring, they held COD together in terms of like the content that they provided, whether it was playing and or just like yelling at each other. Like we don't see that often anymore. So I hope it doesn't hurt COD that these guys are going away.
Yeah, I saw Methods talk about that in his reaction video to attach his retirement, where he was saying that it was just different back then because of the personalities and the relationships that they all had with one another. Like now, it just from a surface level viewer, it seems a lot more stale.
Yeah.
Minus a handful of the guys who have good personalities and like all that, but I don't know. You don't really see the camaraderie like you did back then.
Hmm.
I love seeing all those videos of those guys just like walking to the event together and like in the airport together and doing all this stuff.
Hmm.
I don't really know if you have that anymore.
Hmm.
Um, and it's definitely sad if it's not to that level because
Hmm.
again, that was the golden era of like Call of Duty, and it just
Hmm.
of professional Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so I hope it continues, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, you definitely still have that. Like you got the optics and the phase that, they're all traveling together, right? But it's a different personalities being together. Like
Yeah.
Shotzi and Dash are hilarious together, but I want to see them fucking screaming up on stage. Yeah, I want them to be
Right.
screaming and pointing and saying your shit, like
Right.
all
Right.
this
Right.
good content, but these guys are just too chill.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Or they're too worried about getting fined.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
That too.
And it's well, we'll see. I just
We
hope
shall see.
that these guys just keep up, the content and like what the old heads like built. They helped
Right.
build this to where it is now. And I mean, people can argue that it's been going downhill since the CDL, but uh these younger guys gotta they
They
gotta
got to step
step
up.
up. It's their turn. Like if they don't help build it, there's gonna be no league for them to play in. So
Absolutely.
and the fans will just drop off. But yeah, I mean, going into champs, dude, it's in Ultra's hosting it.
Hmm.
It's in Toronto. And it
Yep.
is the end of June, June 26th to June 29th. So we got like a good month of no COD, which is I don't know what to say about
Not
that.
ideal.
Not ideal,
Not
yeah.
no.
Like we're just gonna watch. Like it's gonna go to champs, like, oh, all these teams are playing again. Which could mean, like maybe Thieves, they just don't look good within these next couple of weeks. Like we have no idea. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
bro. Maybe they just take hella time off and they're all on the high, and then they
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back and they get absolutely mollywopped. Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
I will
Um,
say the bracket just looks sad. Like if you guys like look at it, because there's only 8 teams. And
yeah,
it
I
just
remember just looking at it before here. Yeah, it is pretty. It's pretty sad.
yeah, like
For a champs, bracket, it doesn't look super exciting.
yeah, it's so short. Thieves Breach, Surge Heretics, FaZe Optic, Ultra Ravens.
Right.
The best match is FaZe Optic and like Surge Heretics.
Yeah, I mean, I would really say even that Surge Heretics match is probably going to be. of those 4 matches, it's probably the best one because that'd be
Yeah.
the hardest one to predict.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, it all depends on, what version you get out of these teams, you know?
Yeah. FaZe Optic though is just, that's an E Classico right there these
Yes, it
days.
is, it is. But
So,
I hope Optic shows up to that match and they give
yeah.
him a good run, you
Yeah, that'd
know?
be nice to see FaZe get knocked into a limbs and then, they
Yeah.
just gotta make a run again. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean, they're more
absolutely.
than capable, but yeah, not gonna lie, the bracket just looks sad with only 8 teams. It doesn't look
Yeah.
full, you know?
No, it doesn't. But we will definitely do a whole bracket prediction for
Mhm.
champs so as it gets closer. Probably like I would say maybe like a couple of weeks prior so that way we have it
Mhm.
all set up and then we can actually see it unfold and you guys get to see the bracket before we get to the major.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
exactly. We'll probably
yeah, that would be
yeah,
ideal.
post it before the
Right,
major,
right,
week
right.
before. Um, I mean, yeah, I think, we covered everything for Major
I
4 that
think
we
that's it.
wanted.
I think that's it, bro.
Yeah,
We've done it.
I know we've gotten through the year in
I
this
know,
COD.
right?
It's kinda
It's
crazy.
crazy. It is crazy. It feels like it just started.
Mhm. Because it
But
kinda did,
yeah,
but
right.
well, actually, to be honest, like, it kinda did, but at the same time, dude, January. Like, it's just
Right.
crazy. We're going into June already.
Yeah, I know. This year in general is already flying by, bro. Like 2025 is going quick.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and I think that is definitely playing a part of it. But yeah, it just feels short because you don't watch a ton of matches.
Mhm,
You watch a lot of online matches that don't really have a ton of weight to them. And then the
mhm.
matches that do have a ton of weight, well, you only see it 4 times and that's it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly, and, yeah, I mean, we'll do an episode about, like, formatting and, like, a bunch of stuff, like, going into the next year. Hopefully, things
Yeah, for
change a
sure.
bit, and there's gonna be a lot of rumors and stuff to talk about, but yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know on, YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe over there if we were right or if you guys were right, because technically we were. We had
Right.
FaZe or Thieves, so, I mean, one of our brackets was good.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, make sure to go to YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. We're also on anchor.fm/the COD Casuals. We're on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. We leave a poll in Spotify too. So if you want to go down there, answer the question, whatever the poll is for this episode. And we're also on Instagram and TikTok where we cut up every single episode and post the shorts over there. So if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, just go over there and leave a 5-star rating on everything because
Always.
it will help us out a ton. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's it.
That's it, bro.
So yeah, thank you everyone. This has been episode 224 of the COD Casuals. We're your host Justin,
And I'm Mike.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.